We're live. Okay. This is the Uncanny Omar with
Astonishing Melanie.
And who are we
together?
interviewing?
I'm sorry. We were going to fuse. We got to fuse. Together we are Omni.
Okay.
Oh, that is the best thing I've ever seen.
See, thanks.
Is it? You need to get out more.
Yes, our special guest.
Do I? That is. I want a prefix too, though. Like if you're astonishing and you're like, can I be something? Slightly disappointing. Torunn Grønbekk.
What's left?
Let's use alliteration. Alliteration.
Ever annoying Torunn Grønbekk.
No, terrific. Terrific Torunn.
Yeah, that's good. That is great.
Terrific Torunn. Now, if you've been following our channel for a while, you know that Torunn has joined us in the past to talk about Red Sonja and all her travels in different countries.
Torun's travels or Red Sonja's travels?
No, her travels.
Oh, okay.
And travel. She also gave us some wonderful travel information too, and reindeer stew, which I'm sure a lot of people are offended by.
Shonda does not never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget.
that is the thing is, last time I was here, first of all, I don't remember anything. Just so big. I had a wonderful time. I forgot that we were alive. It was absolutely amazing. And then I went back. Because I couldn't see the comments. I went back and I read the comments. And first of all, this is the only nice place on the internet. Your comment section is just the loveliest place in the world. The best, beautiful people saying nice things. And then I see one guy going, reindeer and pegging minties. And I'm like, yeah, my brand. Excellent. Just summed up. Like, that's my marketing guy now.
I'm sure somebody's grandmother that's watching had to Google what pegging was, and they were like, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
But maybe now she knows.
Like my wife. So yes, if you've not joined us before, we never know where these conversations are gonna go. Torunn has a lot of thoughts, and she's a wonderful human being, so she's allowed to share our thoughts, her thoughts with the world. And I think
I'm allowed to swear. Is that what you're saying?
You are allowed to swear. Yeah.
I just want to point out it is 1 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday night. I am like drunk is a big word. No, it's not a big word. It's a tiny word. But I'm saying I've been drinking a tiny bit before I went on because you said you were having a drink.
I'm having a drink as we speak.
Yeah.
Because
it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Go.
Yeah, and I just figured like we can say whatever we want right now. I feel like we can.
Well, it's 7 o'clock here, but that's okay. You know, we're traveling through time. I think these type of episodes
people can rewatch this at any moment in the day. So
that's right. These type of episodes get an NC-17 rating.
It's gonna be nastier than the AMA.
If it's gonna be, it's probably nastier than the AMA because I didn't really reveal them. I was getting frustrated with my computer in the AMA. But no, seriously, it is a pleasure to have you back. I had a lot of fun the last time, and when you emailed me and wanted to talk about Carnage, I was like, oh yes, I will make time.
Love to hear it.
To talk to one of my favorite creators and one of my favorite people. People are saying welcome back. I pre-ordered the latest Red Sonja statue from Sideshow.
Oh, nice. I want that so much. Jesus Christ. It is a sort of I just bought today a Venom statue, which I like because it feels like I can do that, right? Because if I write Venom, then I should be able to buy all the statues.
That's how I justify it. I read Venom, I should be able to buy the statue.
Yeah, but you have girl math. This is like comics math. Something like it's just like it doesn't add up in any way. And then the guy who sold me the Venom statue, who was like, "Hey, we have a Carnage statue. It's huge. It's $2,500. What do you think?" And I just had to be like, "No, I'm going no." But I don't know. It's just I want it so much because the thing is the light. No, the Venom statue, yes. The $2,500 Carnage statue, no.
Oh,
no, but the Red
Carnage.
I want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. They make it easier for you when they're like, "Hey, we now accept payments," right? You can make small payments, and you're like, "Oh, it's like I'm in debt with a statue collector, or with a statue maker, and they're gonna come for me." Or I get, and I think it's cool. Like they do that. I mean, everybody does it. Right? Credit cards take your payment. I don't know if there's interest in those things or not.
Probably.
I gotta read an always an instigator. He wasn't here the last time. I can't stay, but I love you, Torunn. You had the best interview Omar's ever done. I'm serious.
Oh my God.
ever.
That is, it is how is that? But like, I feel like I'm going to fuck it up now. That's the problem. I'm going to
Now you
say
have to
something
stop it.
horrible.
Well, now you got to
I'm
top
gonna
it.
No. The thing is, I'm going to make that joke that everyone like I think is funny, and then it just sort of dies
Oh,
down.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
that was me last night.
yeah, that's my wife. Like, you gotta read the room.
Tell the
read it
joke.
down. No, it's not worth it.
Interested.
Another joke. Oh, look,
Oh,
Lars is back, and you can read this out loud because I don't know what the hell it means.
Saying it's so impressive. Oh, it's so nice when people. There's so few Scandinavians, and all of the Scandinavians that know who I am has seen me on this show. That was sort of my experience in Stockholm. I had like we were just sitting there, a bunch of people. No one knew who we were except for the people who've seen this show and come over like, "Hey, I saw you on Near Mint." So I mean, like, yeah, but Lars, thank you, Lars. That is, it's very sweet that we have some Norwegians watching as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got yelled at last time by the Norwegian because I said that I didn't have access to Marvel comics when I was a child, and they're like, "Well, there were Marvel comics in Norway at the time, but I'm just saying at my local shop there were no Marvel comics. We had no comics. We had bread and cheese. That was it.
bread and cheese."
And mead? Did you guys have mead?
No,
mead?
bread, cheese. No, we had
That's it?
newspapers, bread and cheese. I'm just saying we had no Marvel comics. In my that was not a thing that existed in my childhood until I could, take my bike and bike other places in the world and find comics.
All the places.
Ooh, all over the world.
Yeah, where did you bike? America?
Well, the thing is, like that
This is why you're the writer. You have this mind that I wouldn't be able to find.
No, I think I told you about this. I had this one thrift store, like this one local bookstore, where this guy who had lost all will to live, like sincerely, he was deeply depressed, and every time I came by to buy comics, I would find a bunch of comics and just base it on like what looked cool and what was beautiful, and I would go up to the counter and be like, "Hey, how much for the comics?" And he would be like 100 kroner, and I would be like, "I have 10," and he'd be like, "Oh, whatever, fuck, I was just." And he sort of funded my comics collection for a while there because it was just I can't take, could you just leave the store, take whatever you want, just leave me alone. And I would walk out of there with like a bunch of American comics and especially like British 2000 ADs, just things that were just mind blowing and beautiful, and it was always like a story in the middle of some arc, so it would just be some weird issue of nonsense. But it was just the best. So thank you. I hope he's still alive. The guy, I haven't checked on him for a while. Like the shop is gone. I'm just saying that was where I biked to.
Something good came out of it.
Yeah.
He didn't know he was helping a future comic creator.
So you're describing somebody selling comics as a disgruntled person. Yeah, I think that's most of the comic book stores I've been at.
Having said that, he sold everything. Like he sold old books and old records and everything, and no one's taste was as good as his. So if you went in there and we were like, "Oh, I want Miles Davis," he'd be like, "Oh, you're probably one of the kind of blue people." Like, I was like, "Okay." I loved him.
Chris was saying he'd be interested in a Star Wars comic by you.
I have written one Darth Vader story.
Yeah, for the red, black and blood. No, I'm sorry.
Not blood.
White, black, and blood. What is it called?
Red, black, and white.
No,
I don't know.
Black, white, and blood.
The thing is,
you wrote it in the book. What is
the thing is, like we couldn't use blood because something. Lucasfilm, I don't know. They didn't want to use blood.
Isn't it?
Are you serious? That's every other one of them are called black, white, and blood.
Yeah, everyone except for this one is called blood. And then they went with red. And I haven't, like, no one at Lucasfilm told me, like, oh, we couldn't use blood. But that's my assumption, is that they were like, I don't know. But it was strange because they went like, oh, you can go make Darth Vader as violent as you, like, just go for it. Which is a fun thing to say to me in many ways. But
Yes.
the blood thing, that's one bridge too far, apparently.
Yeah, like,
The word blood is just so awful.
Yeah. That is the one thing that will make people go like, no. But
yeah.
the thing is, I will say I'm working on some licensed stuff that I shouldn't name the book. But there are some like Americans. What's going on? What's happening? What's because they're so terrified of putting anything into these books, and like it used to be just like
Wait, are you
ordinance,
talking
right?
about Americans in general?
I'm talking about American publishers who at this
American
point.
publishers. Well, I think. Okay.
Wait, before this sounds like a deep conversation. I just want to point out that Shashi would like you to write ongoing Thor and Valkyrie.
Oh, I would like that too. Thank you.
So
that would be neat.
So I mean, there is.
There we are. James knows.
Oh, James knows. Yes, James knows everything.
Yeah, he knows
I can
Oracle.
ask him. You can ask him to go and find something from our previous interview, and he will go and find it. I don't know how. I think he is connected to the Matrix.
James Abel. Abel is a fantastic name.
Look at that,
Just
James.
saying. I'm going to steal your name, James.
You better put that on a T-shirt, James. Wear that.
The thing is, like, James Abel can be both a villain and a hero, right? Could be both. It's a great name.
He's a little of both.
Yeah, I have a little book where I write down names that I enjoy. So whenever I need a character name, I can just take one from the list. Abel is going on the list. I'm just saying.
Look at that. Look, James has got like. Oh my gosh, you have no idea what you just did to this man. Like, yeah, exactly. You have created a monster, Torunn. So going back to the point that you were making about it is always funny when I talk to European creators or anybody from across the sea about just books in general, entertainment, right? We really have this weird taboo in America about like nudity, no nudity in books. Like, whereas Europeans are like just about everywhere, right? Because I mean, it's in the arts, it's in everywhere, it's in every nudity is just everywhere. But here in America, it's like no, and it's so interesting because.
But violence is okay.
Yeah,
well, like, apparently not the word blood though.
Well, no,
but violence is fine.
And I'm not talking about every one of them, but entertainment and movies and animation and books and comics, like it doesn't matter, but. It's weird to see, like, yeah, decapitation's okay, but you show a nipple, different rating. Yeah. Now that becomes a different rating. I do love the loopholes that creators have to go through, though, when it comes to writing violence. I find that really interesting when they're like, oh, yeah, what was that I was reading? I think it was Blade. Oh, he was killing the undead, so he was decapitating all these people, cutting off limbs.
That's one of the things we were talking about for Carnage. Is can we have Cletus Kasady on a cross? Like, can I crucify him? And they're like, well, we could do it if it's like an X, because we keep doing it for the X-Men, but probably not for the cross. But it is a strange thing. Like, I haven't quite been able to figure out where we're. Like, I get that all horniness is just that's not a thing. No one is horny in Marvel Comics, or anywhere
else. Have you
else,
read The Exterminators
by
Williams?
And the thing is, like, I would say I was struggling to figure out what makes a good X-Men comic, and I figured out it's just like it's horniness and punching, right? Like that's what it is. So it's hard when you can't really do anything. And I
did an instigator. I'll come back to your question. He's running away from his kids to ask a question.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Holland? Because I'm about to talk about porn, like because I can't remember if I told you about this because I was so excited about it because I bought someone's comics collection because they had some interesting things on top, and then I got into it after I got the boxes, and it's mostly porn, like comics porn from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Okay. Scandinavian, French, Belgium, whatever. I have Finnish porn at this point. It's great. And the thing is, it is a lot of, like, nothing is, well, some of it is, but most of it is like, oh, there are people fucking for 20 pages. And then it's like, they are planets. They were making a universe. And then it's fine, right? So it's sort of science fiction-y. And the thing is, I realized when I was going through this, I read a lot of this sort of nonsense. They're sort of not necessarily all porn, but sort of on the fence where people were using too many panels to show, the lady taking her top off. that was part of the appeal of the comics, right? So it's interesting when it's just gone now.
Well, you sold Matt B on your work. Just stumbled in, never heard of your work. Never heard of you, but I need to get some of your work.
Oh my god! My head is gonna fucking explode if I keep reading these comments. They're so nice. I'm gonna fuck it up. There's no way I'm gonna get through this interview without fucking.
You're gonna be fine. You take a couple drinks and you're gonna be fine. Look at you're like, I hear this all the time when I go to conventions.
Do you know anything about the Thor Omnibus coming up, and can we get a Valkyrie one? Always an
Omar, do you know? Because you know about these things. I don't. No one tells me anything.
I do. I told you.
Yeah, you told me. That's what I'm saying.
And you kept quiet. I said I signed an NDA. You gotta be quiet about this, and you did. You kept quiet, so I trust you. Yes. So the Donny Cates run of Thor is going to be collected in omnibus format. It's the Donny Cates, and actually, let's get real for a second. Let's talk about this for a second, because this is a really interesting topic, I think. It's Donny Cates and I believe Nick Klein Omnibus is what they're calling it. So I had a lot of people reach out to me and be like, hey, is there any way that, then this is how wonderful you are, right? This is how wonderful people think about you. Said, hey, is there any way that Marvel could change the name from Thor by Donny Cates and Nick Klein to Thor by Donny Cates, Torunn Grønbekk, and Nick Klein? Now, when working with publishers, you have to choose your battle. But I know how I feel about you. Melanie knows how I feel about you. And I was like, how do I?
He talks about you every night in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right. Dude, what the hell? Why would you say?
Be an entirely different stream from now on.
You can keep that for the after hours. Okay. But in all seriousness, I thought, but if I open this store, what's to stop other creators from going, hey, man, my stuff was in that book. Why isn't my name on there too? Which is honestly the answer that I got in the past, because a couple of years ago, there was a collection. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember. Where it was the writer and artist that were getting the credit. And there was another writer that finished out the book. And I wish I could remember. But something very similar happened, right? They were trying to get their name on the book. And this wasn't even Marvel, it was DC. And what ended up happening is they said that because the person had written out like pretty much given the map to how the book should end, that person gets top billing and that person gets the top credit, right? And that's how they explained it. But that's the thing. It's like if I have a step in and do that, I think it's going to open a door to, hey, let's get every creator their due, and of course everybody wants their name on their book. I just want to point out that like I don't feel bad about that at all. I think like that was Donny's run. He did an amazing job until he couldn't do it anymore for personal reasons, and I was very happy to step in. It was a ton of fun, and I was very happy that I got to work with Nick Klein, as I think we spoke about at length last time I was here. But it's very much Donny's book and Donny's run. So I don't feel bad about that at all. Just so we're clear. The only thing I feel slightly annoyed about, is that I think it's Thor 31. It's just credited as Donny because he wrote a few pages. Like he wrote a few pages that were so good because Nick had already drawn them, and then I had to try to work them into the story somehow because they were so cool. But I had to change everything, but I still used the pages because the pages were fantastically beautiful. And then I wrote the rest of the issue, but it's still done. And that's the only thing I'm sort of like, but other than that, like the omnibus, that's Donny's book. Just okay.
And I think it's great.
So I think you have a wonderful attitude, and people, but that's how much people really like you, though. They're like, hey, I've never seen anybody else take up for I've never like with the Jim Lee and Jim Lee and Chris Claremont omnibus.
Torunn is a woman of culture. Seriously, that is funny.
Will Spartasio drew just as many issues on those, and he's not on the.
I want to point out that I have right behind me here. I have Caligula and Red Sonja. I am a woman of culture.
Your office, is that your office?
This is my office.
It does look very culturally.
Does it though?
Yes.
I have Have you
I don't know if
seen?
Melanie has seen. Yes, look at that.
Oh,
Like,
This is my
awesome.
ceiling. There's a sword there. I have all my books.
Oh,
I have my planes. I
You're
like
in a
my
loft.
aircraft,
Wow.
and I have my huge bookshelf that like men will explain to me that if we're in like Brazil or something, it wouldn't be structurally sound because of the earthquakes, and I'll be like, well, we are in Norway. It's fine.
Classy. Yeah, Josh, it's classy.
she is
Yeah,
East
classy,
Coast.
but it is sort of like they're all original comic art, and if you go and if you look at the actual pages, like you have some fucking John McCrae art here with an exploding someone. Like if you look closely, I'm not sure it's classy, but it sort of looks classy. And like I wouldn't have this one if it hadn't been Caligula, and you can grow shit in Caligula's head, and it delights me.
It's a chia head. It's a chia head.
But I'm just saying, it's one of those like I sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you're trying to go for the classic look," it's like, "Oh, I'm not sure that's it's truly it." But it is that this place is the answer to what happens if no one's here to stop me. Like it's just
But
I would
it's your
love I
victory
would
stopped.
love
It's
a
your
tour of the
workspace.
entire office. But to my point is no one, and I mean absolutely zero comments when I got to announce the reprints. Hey Omar, is there any way we can change the name of the omnibus to Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, and Mark Silvestri, since Logan's right? Mark Silvestri actually drew more issues than Jim Lee in that omnibus.
see, that's interesting.
But when it came to you, people were like, hey, is there any way to, and that's how people feel about you. And I think that says a lot about you and your work and how much your work has been on people's mind, like how it's out there. And
See, it makes me so happy, Omar. Truly, I mean, the only thing I can I only feel like it's just a matter of time until I don't have imposter syndrome for my work because I do work a lot, but I have imposter syndrome from like being a person, like being people. Um, so when you say things like that, I'm just like I feel like I'm going to be discovered as a fraud. But anyway, but I'll take it. Thank you.
okay, I'm just repeating what I've seen. Fans care more about writers than artists.
Is that true?
I don't know
Josh?
if that's true, Josh. I don't see an artist edition for like Chris Claremont. I don't see any of his scripts being collected into a book.
I don't know. I think there are some artists who will sort of always be more like they will be iconic in a way that writers can't be, in a way.
Well, that's the first thing you see, though, right?
Yeah.
Like when it's an art, like that's what comics are. Like you said yourself, you picked up comics from that store based on the way they look, and you were
Oh,
like,
right.
"This could be badass, or it could be really bad with a cool cover."
Yeah. Oh God, that was. But it is that that's always that is the answer, right? When people ask like why comics, it's just
Nobody buying
because
a
we
book
want
with just
to.
scripts. Yeah, it's called a book.
This is true. The thing is, I have a series that I feel like this is name dropping, but it isn't though. Like he is a good friend of mine, Garth, and he sends me his scripts when I ask him, and reading them is the most delightful thing. I just read one of his new books that made me um it was so horrifying that I spent the rest of the day telling people I loved them. Like I would call people up and be like, "Hey, just so you know, I love you." Like,
Oh,
yeah. No things. There are scripts that are just beautiful to read, but most of them are not. That's the problem. It's just most of them are tedious and annoying, and that you try to make them entertaining, and it's just even more annoying when you do. Sometimes I go back and I read my scripts, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I was really trying to do something there," and it just falls flat unless you're in my head at the time.
Omar, can you ask Torunn Holiday Xmas interview? Yeah, dude, Torunn, I told her the last time she has an open invitation.
Is this a special thing? Do you do a special Christmas thing?
I can now. You want to come back for a?
We
do.
It seems like a thing.
Many Christmases of the past, we have done a stream on Christmas Day. Just we did our thing in the morning, and
Yeah, we gave away some gifts because Christmas. I mean, like Christmas Day itself.
Christmas
Hey,
time.
stay focused. This ain't
We're
the
already
live stream.
demonetized though, so it's okay. I can say whatever I want.
We're not
Did I
demonetized.
demonetize you because of all the swearing?
It's fine.
No.
I feel horrible now.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You did not. It's she's making a joke about how YouTube demonetized us for singing ridiculous songs.
Oh, right.
Oh gosh, yes, because like if I guess if I did a good enough job, right? Like, what if the bots pick it up and they're like, that's copyrighted music, and then you get demonetized.
All right, so look, what we can do, Torunn, we'll call it a reindeer stew.
Wait, what's piggy?
X-Men, please.
If you don't know, please don't. Please,
Not right now.
I don't want to have like a real time. Oh my God, Torunn is horrible moment here. But just wait.
If only I could.
Let's see.
Talk about the hypothetical situations Omar creates and how horrible they are.
Let's do that after the camera's off, okay? What type of mic do you use? That's really interesting. I've never heard that question.
Oh, okay. Now I know what pegging is.
Go ahead, Torunn.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, what type of mic do you use? What is that?
This is a Röd podcaster.
It's a podcast.
Yeah, but
Actually, I was.
How do you say it? Röda? I don't know how you say it in English. No, Röda? I don't know.
Oh, R-O-D.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Jordan, I was at Marriott as well.
I would like to say that Alan Moore, Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis get more credit than the artist.
So that's what Josh was saying earlier as well about Alan Moore books named the artists.
Oh yeah, but let's not pick and choose here. Like we're in the middle of a live stream interviewing somebody, so it doesn't really matter because I think there's just as many artist editions and absolute editions that sell with artist names on it.
See, this is the Norwegian Christmas you need. I'll give you 5 black metal albums. You have to listen.
Okay, well, you're in the right place. I do like metal. Okay, for Christmas, can Torunn give him?
Sorry,
it's okay. Give Omar 5 black metal albums to listen to. Are you a metal fan?
Of course. I mean, yeah, of course. Okay. I don't know. Didn't we cover this last time? Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things that I realized at some point that because in Norway it's pretty common, I suppose, at least now. Oh, but yeah, this one, Abel is right. But then I realized when I started leaving the country, like people will be, and this is, I'm sorry, if you're a guy and you meet a woman who likes metal, don't be like, oh, you're the first woman who's like, I never heard of anyone who's ever heard of Metallica before. Like, that's not cool. Like, just meet more women, right?
Wait a minute. Are you saying you just got, what's that damn word again? Gatekeep? Somebody trying to
sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, would you, of course, like, I feel like my life has been just one long quiz from men being like, oh, so you like comics? Who's your favorite Fantastic Four?
Oh,
you know,
I asked you that question though.
The thing is, that's different. You're not testing me. You're not like, oh, if you say the wrong thing.
I have a notepad over here to how well you know the Fantastic Four.
That'd be so weird.
I never do that to my guy interviews, but I'm like,
yeah.
Female trader.
Before we get to the point, let's just check here. And the like wearing metal T-shirts around the world and be like, hey. So do you even know what it is? I like my aircraft, like my Second World War aircraft. That's my favorite thing in the world.
Like you do model airplanes?
Oh yeah, I have.
Is that what you made over there?
No, these are my like. If you were to zoom in, there's an entire dogfight hanging from the ceiling there. But I made a series of jewelry that was I made a P-51, Hawker Hurricane, and a Spitfire. And I had a guy come over somewhere at some airport at some point, and he came over like, "Hey, do you even know what kind of plane that is?" And so that was a really
good American accent.
I really tried there.
Hey, dude.
And I think I went something like, well, I think it's one of those Spirit Airlines ones or something, which was supposed to be a joke. He's like, no. It's not a passenger plane. I'm like, yeah, but I make them. I know what they are. And the thing is, like, once you get into that conversation, there's no way out. Like, there's no There's no way to sort of delightfully dance your way out of that conversation. So it's better just to not get there in the first place. That's my point. Just not be
Don't leave
amazed.
yourself open to people that like.
No, just don't test people on their knowledge. Just if they go, I like this thing, just trust them. Just be like, oh, cool, I like that thing too. And then you're off.
Yeah, like the
That's
gentleman
nice.
at the Ren Fair, he was dressed as Batman. He was an older gentleman, and I was drunk, and I wanted to talk comics, and I was like, oh, you like Batman? And I started talking about Zdarsky, and I was like, have you read Zdarsky's run? Blah, blah, blah. And the way you could tell he wasn't, he wasn't caught up, let's say, in the world of comics. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do this. Oh, now I'm cussing.
It's Torunn. She brings it out with everybody.
So, I just let it play out. Like, just let it die naturally. Like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So anyway.
But you don't mean to that's the thing, right? Like I get that. I have a cabin in the forest in Sweden, and it's one of those places where everyone knows everyone's business up to a point. It's very interesting, and I have a murder story that I will tell you later about this cabin. But somewhat related, the police came by this summer to talk about some things, just to anyway. And when they left the building, they went, just so you know, I like Batman, because they obviously heard through whatever in this tiny town that I'm sitting up there in the forest writing comics, and the only comics in the world is Batman. And I was like, yeah,
yep,
sure, I'm Marvel. I don't, whatever. Like, go with God. This is great.
Go with God.
I mean, if somebody were to talk to me about sports, you pass the ball. Yep. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
whatever I would say.
I'm the same way. I don't like, if you were to talk to me about football, I'd be like, well, Taylor Swift is dating that guy from the Chiefs, and that's
is
all
she?
I know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, like, it's very, but
okay.
But if
James
I found out
a question here that I want.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good
question. Have you ever thought about doing an airplane war comic or something?
Yes.
During World War II. Go ahead.
First of all, I just did. Let me do. This is Battle Action. It's one of those British lovely anthologies that we just sort of
Hold on.
We are Battle Action.
Who publishes that?
This is Rebellion. This is the same people who publishes 2000 AD. And this is one of Garth Ennis's sort of pet project. That sounds horrible. He loved Battle Action.
I'm sorry. Can you hold it up just one more time while you're talking?
Yes, of course.
That is an awesome cover.
I know the cover is by Keith Burns. And in this, I write, I think it's a 15-page story about Nina Petrova, who is part of the, I suppose it's sort of based on the Night Witches, if you know what the Night Witches were. They're female pilots who flew horrible, squeaky, loud planes and then cut the engine and bombed the Nazis. Like, it is a delightful thing. It is not delightful, it's war. But it's within the confines of a war comic, it's fucking delightful. And I would like everyone to read this comic, please. And I would love to do more, because it's one of those, it's just, I think at this point, all the aircraft nonsense is, it is the one thing that I love, that it's not work in any way. It's just a passion. And I get such delight from it. So if I can somehow convince someone that I need to do like research and just read about this nonsense and then write some stuff, like, that would be great. But I do realize that war comics do not sell a lot. Yeah.
Well, James has a link. Is it this one then?
Yes.
2018?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is really weird, because we go through phases where there was war comics, it was romance comics, it was Western comics, and Europeans loved Western comics, so much so that they made some of the best Western comics over there, and movies.
Do you think so? Because I was just
Blueberry
about to ask you.
And, oh my gosh, we have very little Blueberry here in America. I think we had the first 5 volumes collected, and that was it. And it's impossible to get the rights, the licensing, and everything. It's just It's not good. We went to Spain a couple of years ago. My really good friend has the entire library of Blueberry in hardcover, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful!" It's all in Spanish. Wait, I should have bought it. I can read Spanish. Anyway, my point is like it's really interesting how you're right. They don't sell as well as superhero comics, but I think eventually. Oh my gosh, this guy Peter, I would love to have him on right now. He loves you. But I just had Peter. To say hello as a major Torunn. Like when he found out I was interviewing you the first time, he messaged me and he was like, "You have no idea how excited I am. It's late in the night," because he's in New Zealand, and he absolutely adores you. And that's who I told you said hello.
He's gonna survive the end of the world. I hear that's where we're all supposed to go. Like it's either Norway or New Zealand, but
we can't all fit in New Zealand.
I know, so we have to kill each other, and then the winners.
How about we don't tell people.
Oh, so this was wrong. Peter, can I come stay when everything falls apart?
Dibs on Peter.
4 days?
I'm already going to Peter's. You can't just call dibs on him. You and Jason Aaron can be over in Kansas.
What the fuck is Kansas?
No, Alabama.
No, he's in Kansas.
Okay, he is in
Kansas. But he like that's just gonna be it's not gonna be the first place to go, but it's gonna be like the 7th.
Yeah. Oh, Torsten's name is also Thor something. Yeah. Hello from a fellow object of Thor. Thor Storm.
Object of Thor. That is great.
Yes.
Well, I do love that we have a bunch of like so many Thor names, and I never thought about it until I started working with Americans, and they're so excited about like my name.
Dude, when I found out what your name, I told you this when I interviewed the first time. That when I found out what your name was, I was like, that's amazing. And somebody
actually, when I was talking to my creative writing class after meeting you, I said that too. I was like, and her name means this, and she was like, everybody's named Thor something over here.
Oh,
it's still cool. Yes, Torunn needs to visit Crushing Crisis Library in New Zealand. Look, you just got invited, and we're all going to survive this Armageddon that's happening.
Well, I mean, we'll see how horrible it's going to be, because I mean, I've had a good run. Like, I'm fine.
No. There's a lot more stories to tell. We just started writing.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm just saying, like everything falls apart. I don't know. I realized. Did I tell you this last time? Like when we got when Putin went to war, we got permission slips back from school. I think I told you this.
You told me.
But
it was after the camera was shut off. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll tell the story. Okay, so Putin goes to war, and all the schools in Norway have iodine for the kids in case someone pushes some button somewhere, right? So you take iodine and you hopefully you're not going to get cancer. So we get the permission slips that we have to sign and send back to the school. And in the Facebook group of the parents' Facebook group, they're like, "Where's the research? What happens? My son is lactose intolerant. What's gonna iodine? Who's done? Blah blah blah." And I'm just there thinking, maybe we deserve it at this point. Like maybe the bomb is just gonna do us a favor. And there was I just can't stop picturing the teacher, the teacher standing there with like a list of the students being like, "No, Billy, you can't have any iodine because mommy doesn't believe in science." Like it's just
right.
Like just reached just a level of stupidity at this point. Like I don't think. Like all men are made equal. We just the recipe fucking sucks. That's the problem. It's not great.
Here, let's see. Hi. Is Torunn Russian?
No, Torunn is Norwegian.
No, say it one more time.
Norwegian? Norway?
Norwegian.
Yep. Norwegian?
Yeah, I like the way you say it better than I.
Do you though? I have no idea what comes out of my mouth at any time, at any point. Neither content nor language. That's a problem.
I share that with you. Yes, sometimes I slip up, and who knows what I say. Except my wife. My wife always corrects me, so that's okay. That's okay. She's my editor.
So if you speak Spanish, do you?
No. I mean,
so is it Spanish you ever like? Do you suddenly
my native tongue?
Oh, yeah, like what would you slip up and say?
Oh no, it's not. It's less Spanish and more drunken slurs.
Oh right.
Yeah, like
those are good.
Yeah,
You should get to the drunken slurs part of the show, I think.
Well, I may. I've been drinking a lot of.
What are you
bourbon.
drinking? Can we see? Can we talk
Is
about it?
Yeah, this
Is
is.
that-
So I'm mixing because I'm
Actually, from the city.
I'm a
you live in
gentleman,
right
and
now?
I don't want to get sloshed on an interview. I'm mixing Jim Beam, which is bourbon, really cheap. This is plastic, so it's really cheap, with Coke. And you know, because I don't want to get too sloshy. I want to actually oh my god, we're only 40 minutes in. Like carry on a conversation to talk about the book that you're writing currently. Because I am a professional.
But
first.
the thing is, I wanted to talk about bourbon, but I wasn't sure if we could, because I'm not sure if you're allowed to. But the thing is, because I just realized, like a fucking idiot, because I used to drink when I was really young. I used to think like, oh, well, I want to drink like Jack Daniels and everything, and I did, and it was
that's not
fine.
bourbon, Torunn. I'm gonna teach you.
Yeah, but I realized this. And then, but I had a long run there. But I only
did you have a guy tell you that's not actual bourbon?
No. Well, I mean, of course, I'm a woman. Of course, I've had that. Are you fucking insane? But I did. I drink scotch. Like I drink proper, nice, really smoky, horrible. Like if you don't wake up.
So scotch. That's an old man drink, right?
Yeah. But it's lovely. But you wake up like smelling like you fucked the crew of like a tree boat, like a tarred boat. I don't know. That's you're like
I can safely say I've never woken up like that. I've never.
Yeah. We're gonna fix that over. We are gonna fix that. And then I started drinking Angel's Envy, the bourbon.
Oh yeah, the bourbon. Yeah.
And it's so fucking good, and I can't stop. And it's one of those things like, and like with, Pappy Van Winkle.
Yeah,
I used to work at that distillery.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. Dude, when we go off the line, I got some stories about that place.
What could be better?
We're never going to talk about Carnage.
No. So the thing is that because I just realized, like, when I say just, like, last couple of years, just how absolutely amazing proper bourbon is, and I keep trying to get a hold of it, and I can't get it in Norway. So I get Angel's Envy in wherever I'm in the States, and Pappy when my friends are feeling very generous.
What did we finish last night? That was really good.
Hold on, that's bullet.
No,
finish that statement.
No, I'm just that, and I had two today. That's what I'm saying. I had two Angel's Envy before I came on, and I was like, I should probably not have more. That was
you should have one more. So Pappy Van Winkle is a very interesting story because it's like 17-year-old single barrel bourbon, right?
Phil, I may come back.
And then you have like 20-something-year-old bourbon. But what's really interesting is what people don't know, and I don't know if I'm revealing too many secrets, is that it's all the same thing. Pappy Van Winkle is the same thing as Ancient Age. Here's the secret.
Is it?
Here's the secret. Okay, because I worked there, and I was in the distillery. I worked as the team lead in the warehouse, and I worked in the still house. So the secret is just the chill factor, like the chill filters that they put, right? It's single barrel, so it comes out of one barrel instead of mixing barrels, and it's the chill filter. Once you hit the chill filter, that adds a little bit of flavor, adds a little bit of aging to it. 17 years is a long time to age one barrel of whiskey. So it feels good drinking out of one barrel of whiskey. Back when I was working there. So I worked there from 1998 to 2003. By the way, for 2002, sorry, while I was going to college. So for people that, and I swear, I sound like one of these guys that are like, you like metal music, Torunn?
No, you don't.
I'm not trying to sound like one of these guys.
Everything you say, and I'm storing it, and I'm gonna at some point, with confidence, just repeat it. And like, I will never fact check this. This will just be something that I tell people.
None of
if you're wrong, if you bullshit now, Omar, we'll come for you.
So, what?
Except about comics.
So, yeah, I don't make up that up. So it's all the same whiskey. It just comes out of one barrel, right? That barrel is used to make things like Blanton. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Sure.
Blanton bourbon, and there's also what was the other one that we had? Old Weller. When we ran, this is hilarious. When we ran out of, because there was a shortage, what happened was there was a big flood in Kentucky, and Kentucky is the only place you can make true bourbon, by the way.
Yes.
Kentucky represent. That's what we're known for. And chicken and Derby. So when we ran out of like 1987, 1988, 1989 bourbon, because it was gone, because there was a flood that wiped all the bourbon out of
It's a true tragedy.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It was all over the Kentucky River. What they did was mix barrels of 3-year barrels with 5-year barrels, and they called it 7 stars instead of 7 years. So technically, and what's funny is that
I feel that doesn't add up at all.
No, it doesn't.
Like that's...
And then they called it, and then they started calling it 10-star, and the label looks like ancient AAA, ancient age, with like the label that looked like 10-year, but it was the same label except it said 10-star. So when you're drunk and you're going to a liquor store, you're like, oh, get the 10-year whiskey.
Yeah.
It looks identical, and all you're buying is just really 5-year old bourbon. Yeah.
God.
They've been doing that trick for years. So the Pappy, which is really good because of the way that they filter it, the way that it's ran through the mill, and it became super rare and expensive because of all the things that they stole. But that's a different story.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, I think I saw a documentary about this someone stole a bunch of Pappy.
Oh my God, you watched it?
Yeah, of course it did. The thing is,
after we end the stream, I got to tell you some stories about those guys because I used to work with those guys.
Excellent. But the thing is, like, I was, and I never tasted it before. So when at some point this was comic creators with more money than me, they were like, "Have you ever had Pappy?" Like, no. So they got me Pappy, and I sort of fucking hate that it was so good. Like it's
so
I'm not gonna say it's worth the money. Like when, like I'm not sure, but it's fucking delicious.
Expensive.
Like I know, but I mean these fuckers. So I feel like but it was one of those. I wish it wasn't that great. Like I wish it could just be, I don't know, a little
okay.
disappointing, but it wasn't though. It was great. But I would say that like
it's delicious.
But Angels,
you can almost get the same taste out of like Eagle Rare. I'm sorry, we're talking about this. Go ahead, baby. Torunn, we were stumped on NMC last week. This is true. Can you teach us how to pronounce, the Tree of Life?
Could you say it? Come on. How do you say it?
Okay, don't do this.
Yggdrasil.
Okay, I said, hold on. Yggdrasil? Yggdrasil?
Yeah. Yggdrasil.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we would say Yggdrasil.
Oh.
Yggdrasil. Say it one more time.
Yggdrasil. I always sound like an idiot when I
No.
switched from the. I was trying to teach
I named my
how
kid
to.
Yggdrasil. That sounds good. I like that.
Yggdrasil. No, Yggdrasil. I don't know. It's
wow. I like that. That sounds like you're going to war.
Well, I mean, that's all Norse everything. Like it sounds.
Jordan's asking, what are your favorite European comic artists?
Oh,
top five. Well, we know Mobius is one of them because you like.
Well, I mean, they would probably European though. I would go with Steve Dillon, John McCrae, possibly. But I think so.
Wow, look at Steve Dillon. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. He's the reason I fucking write comics. Keith Burns, who is the one who did the cover of the battle, and most like if you walk through my house, it's just a fucking shrine to Keith. Like it is ridiculous. But I love him though. Like he yeah. But I mean, let me think about the last two though, because I'm leaving someone out here, but I have let me think about it.
I always have a hard time with top 5.
Like, I hate it.
I want to sit down and like write out a list and really think about it. Would you enjoy working for a Max Epic imprint where you could go as far as you want in terms of topics and situations?
Yes, please. That would be lovely. It is a fascinating thing how, like, when I did Punisher, we had some very weird.
I was about to say Punisher Max with you on it. You would.
That would be it would be so cool because it was just we had a very strange, like, one of the pitches where I was talking with editors, and Tom went, wouldn't be cool if we had a comic where Frank killed someone on every page, like on all 30 pages he would kill someone. That's sort of the starting point, right? And it evolved from there, and it turned into something completely else. But one of the things that got flagged on that comic was, first of all, Hatemonger, I had him smoking. I was like, no, can't have it. No smoking. But he's literal Hitler, but no smoking. And then I had Frank say something like, oh, imagine the hard-on the guys at the army surplus store gets when they see you guys waddle in. And they're like, hard-on? That's a no. Like, that's... And I tried like for a day, for a full day, I was trying to find some other way to say this. I'd be like, can we have like cream your pants? And like, that's worse.
No, you go on with
yeah. It's just, and I just kept sending Annalise different suggestions of how we could say hard on, and she's like, I think this is harassment. And so we went with something completely else. I'm just saying. And it just sort of strange to me, the things that are flagged in this exceptionally violent comic. Like, we're doing horrible things, we're gassing people, but hard on?
Well, yeah, I'm curious where you're, where as a writer, right? You're like, well, I gotta work around this, right? Like, what do I say? You can't say hard on. Did you? So I love that you didn't even start with boner.
Battle boner.
Battle. Where were you? Fucking a year ago. Battle boner.
There's no way Frank Castle would have got away with saying that. Now Matt's line Frank Castle, absolutely.
This is great. But I mean, next time I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna be like, we need a brainstorming session. I have a problem. We need to give.
Is there something you would like in more comic stories, like more romance, more page count, etc.?
Well, I mean, yes, please. I don't know. I think it's I suppose you can do whatever you want if you do it like create your own. But in Marvel Comics specifically, I think there is a sort of. I think some romancy, some just showing that these people are technically people, because that's sort of what makes them extraordinary, right? Like, they're people and they do extraordinary things, but we never get to see the people part. And I think that's sort of, I think it's easier when you're writing an ongoing, because you can add in more personal touches. But I primarily write miniseries, and I keep having to sort of only do like, oh, we have to get to the point. It's very plot driven, and you had to add in all the personal things on top, I suppose.
Well, so would you like to do something independent, do your own story and characters?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm working on that at the moment, which I'm sort of.
Well, let me know if you need any words for boner and hard on.
yeah, but I was just saying like that was the 4 suggestions I just saw here was better than all of the things that I had on my horrible list of. Like, that is one of those things. I figure like if I'm hit by a bus tomorrow, and like someone's gonna have to go through my computer and figure out what to keep, and they're gonna find a file with just 40 different ways to say cream your pants. Like, it's just I'm trying. I think I need to write I need a will that says just burn it. Like, if it's not published, then burn it. Just don't. Just yeah.
Torunn,
yes.
Like we're on here for 50 minutes.
Oh my god.
Have we talked about Carnage yet?
Nope.
And Venom?
So Hank said, so you're on both Carnage and
Are
Venom
you writing
now.
both?
Can we expect?
I am writing.
I remember the last time you were on. You were so excited. You were like, I can't tell anybody, but I'm going to be writing Carnage. And I was so happy that you told me, because I had shared some NDA stuff with you. Just like after we go off, I will share some.
We are very professional, and we keep it in the family or something. I don't know. In a very professional way.
Yeah. In a professional way to keep it in the family. That is true.
We need to have some friends to be able to talk to. But yeah, I am writing both Carnage and Venom. Can we expect a crossover? I would say that that's highly likely. I would say that the issues that I've just sort of that I'm currently writing in a sort of sort of beautifully interacts like page for page between the two books.
Oh,
and
that's
it is an
cool.
absolute delight, and it might fail. Like, and I hope it doesn't.
No, that's cool.
But I just it is a delight to me. But let's talk about Carnage though, if we can, because that's all I want to talk about.
This week, correct? It's coming out
this
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Coming out this week. Who is the artist?
It's Pere Perez.
I really like Pere Perez's artwork.
It's so good, and the thing about like the Carnage, which was sort of interesting and relevant to the discussion we just had. I wrote the scripts like I always do, because what tends to happen is I write a script, I send it to Marvel, and then a Marvel book returns. Like, that's just how it is.
And that's beautiful? Fine. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I know. But it's just whatever I do, I can't trick the system into being like, the Marvel book returns. And that's just the way it's supposed to be, right? So I wrote this script like I always do. And it's like, it's Carnage, right? It's Cletus Kasady. It's supposed to be... So it is
Cletus Kasady. Back with the symbiote.
It is Cletus Kasady back with the symbiote. It is a sort of 90s version of Cletus Kasady.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite symbiote. Do go on.
Because that's what I did. I went back and I reread all the Carnage comics that made me excited about Carnage at some point.
Wait, you reread all the Carnage comics? You did research.
Oh yeah, I did so much research, and I took horrible little screenshots of all the lines that I enjoyed, and there's a sort of bloodlessness in comics these days, but like in the 90s they had the blood going. It was great.
Yeah, but it was like black blood, so they could get away with it. It didn't even count.
But
like, we knew.
The captions are just extraordinary, and I loved it. And I went back and I figured like I want to do 90s Cletus Kasady, and then we figured out a very neat way to do it. So the thing is, whenever, like, if you're not into symbiotes, just don't overthink the symbiote. Just go with it and just stay for the Cletus Kasady, because I wrote the comic, I sent it in, Perry started drawing it, and we did so for a while, and we had to change an editor at some point, and they were like, oh, it's great comic, good job. And then we had one page with a sort of a flying intestine, I suppose, I think. And there was a sort of discussion like, is this okay for the age rating? And what is the age rating? And and we were already in like issue 3 at the time. So there was no way to go back and fix anything. And we couldn't just scrap what we did. So they changed the age rating for the entire book. So we just, I would say it's almost exactly what I delivered in. That's what you're getting. So I'm sort of extraordinarily excited about this.
What is the age rating?
Yeah, I don't know what you like. Whatever it is, like, I don't know. What
parental advisory, or are we talking like
I think
older teen?
Older teen. I bet you it's older teen.
I don't know what your age ratings are. They're very strange.
Well, when we review books, and I was like, Melanie, what's this rated? I was like, oh, I didn't see. I guess blah blah blah. I'm always way wrong.
No. You said like, I guess it's maybe teen, and that book was like mature rating because there were nipples in the book.
No, it was Wonder Woman.
There wasn't violence.
It was
so I thought it was
what's it called?
Wonder Woman Historia.
Mm-hmm. And I was like,
nipples in it?
Well, like I was, because you were like, yeah, or I don't know. I said something about letting Alicia read it, our daughter. And I was like, yeah, sure.
But yeah, there's definitely different age ratings, right? Between
and then he pointed out it was probably because of a nipple. And I'm like,
oh, it absolutely is because of a nipple.
I wouldn't care if she saw a nipple.
So well, that's because everybody raises their kids.
Right.
Everybody's different with their children. And here in America, right, like nudity is a big thing and it's a no-no. But
here in Norway, I show my 11-year-old. Well, I don't. She found it on her own. She loved it. She likes her favorite show. She's 11. It's Rick and Morty, and it has been for a while. She loves it. And
I do like the first couple of seasons. I thought it was a good balance of like humor and darkness, and then it just started getting too dark, just for my personal taste. I'm like,
So Carnage is 15 plus, so it's teen plus.
Thank you, Aaron.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
I'm not sure what it was, but it was up. That was my point. Like it was
Okay,
just
what-
someone.
James is saying Carnage 1, according to the Marvel
It's
website, is parental
so it has
advisory.
those-
Just like this
Right.
episode is parental advisory.
See,
Get your parents' permission to watch this episode
Oh.
of Near Mint Condition.
yes, please.
Then come back.
Thank you.
Oh,
I should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Jordan, I see your super chat. I want to ask a couple more questions though, and then we'll change the subject to the super chat. With okay, with your Carnage and Venom stories, you're saying that the panels could kind of fit together like a puzzle piece. Like this is happening in this story while this is happening in this story.
Well, the pages. I think there are things happening. Like I feel like I'm giving it away now, but I don't know.
No, like-
you're not. Don't give anything.
But
away.
the thing is, like, I'm just
It's the
making sure that
structure.
there are. If you read Venom and you think like, oh, where did he come from? You will find the answer somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is sort of
Oh, okay.
perfectly, hopefully,
Gotcha.
if it works out, we'll see. But it is a sort of delight to me. Also because we just keep being able to write or make these comics, and Perez he got the point that I was like, we're just like this, and we were in Stockholm together and we were sort of chatting about what we can do and how far we can take it, and I enjoy that he sort of absolutely understands the humor and the horribleness, and the thing about symbiotes, you get a lot of like goo hitting goo. Like there are a bunch of like goo and gooey nonsense that it looks very cool. But I saw one review of the Carnage that said like, oh, it was less than we thought it would be, and it's just like, yeah, sure, because we do try to have some quiet parts in between all the punching, just to make sure the punching sort of punches when we get there. Yeah, nothing brings fear to the heart of Americans, especially nudity. This is true. This is, yeah. But I think I think it's just we get to deal with, because this is Cletus Kasady sort of trying to figure out if Carnage is a god, and if so, what that means. And that sounds a little wankier than I suppose I mean it to be. It's just Cletus Kasady fucking around with people's understanding of religion and God, and toying with how, like, what is a miracle, and if a miracle is absolutely horrible, is it still proof of God, and will you still follow it? And it
So
is.
you're talking like a serial killer.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, Cletus Kasady is very much
know.
yeah.
It's
So-
so weird to think back of because you said you're going back to the 90s, Cletus, and I was like, oh yeah, that was the era when it was like serial kill, but it was different. Like it was different back then than it is now, because we live in an era now where, like, I don't know how it is in Norway, but in America, like Jeffrey Dahmer, the documentary on Netflix, there were kids that were like doing the Jeffrey Dahmer dance on TikTok. There were kids that were like, "Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer's so hot," and it's so weird, right? Like,
I like that we just consistently miss the point of everything. Isn't it great?
oh yeah, it's great.
Just
Yeah.
as a people, we just can't seem to sort of get it right ever.
And it's ridiculous that I'm like, how is it that people are missing? And I'm talking a lot of people on TikTok, a lot of young people on TikTok, like talking about how sexy Jeffrey Dahmer was. When I'm like, he was he ate people. What the hell was wrong with you?
And he was a disgusting fucking serial killer too. Like
absolutely,
he ate
so
people.
Weird.
He
People
let
dressed
them
up on Halloween last year as Jeffrey Dahmer, and I'm like, and you talk about, like censoring the things you can't get away with. It's just really strange. Jordan's asking, how do you feel about Druna?
And Jordan, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Oh, is that? What is a super chat? I don't know.
Super chat is
well,
they paid money for.
Oh my God, Jordan!
To ask you a question.
See, Jordan, I will have
next
to.
time I see you, I gotta get you a plastic bottle of Jim Beam.
And on our channel, I give a gift, and it could be something like Alf.
No, we're not doing Alf.
Oh my God!
We're not going to do that tonight for in honor of you. they'll get Salma Hayek.
Wait, in
Oh.
honor of me
See,
or Torunn?
No,
That is sort of if someone asked me the other day, like, who is the hottest woman ever, and all I could think about was, yeah, it was like 90s, like, from dusk till dawn. Is anyone hotter ever?
Dude,
Like,
when
I
she
don't-
puts her in his mouth and oh my gosh.
Oh my god! Like, I'm not like
Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
into the feet
Oh my
stuff.
gosh. And,
Like-
although George Clooney does deliver some awesome lines about when she's like, worship the ground I walk on and all this stuff. And he's like, no, thanks. I've already been married. Oh, that was so awesome. I love that movie so much.
The thing is, it's one of those movies that I haven't seen it in a while, and I hope it holds up. I really do.
You want to review a movie with me, Torunn? We're going to
Oh
review.
God, please let's do.
You come
But yeah,
watch.
but to Jordan's question, I will have to get back to you. I'm not sure if I should.
Oh, Jordan's question.
Yeah. No, I feel, but it's a super question or whatever it was.
This is a super question. I like this.
This took a turn. When?
It keeps turning.
I feel like it was always going this direction. I'm sorry.
I'm going to, let's see. Carnage comes out this week. Do you know off the top of your head when Venom, or has it already?
No, well, Venom is out. Like I've had several Venom issues. Me and Al we're sort of splitting the issues. We're both writing it, so he's doing sort of Eddie and
Oh
space.
my gosh.
No.
Oh, dude, that is so good. Have you? So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Wait, I have another question.
I'm so sorry. I interrupted my wife. Please forget. I'll be over here drinking Jim Beam.
So
Yeah.
You no, I got one more. Are you using your style of writing, at least that I saw you use in Red Sonja and Jane Valkyrie in My Thor, where you've got the narration boxes kind of framing the narrative itself? Do you do that in Carnage and Venom?
Well, I do. The thing about I do that, but in
I like it.
Carnage, well, I sort of love it. I can't stop. It's a horrible thing. I like to be
No,
there
it's
on the
good. I
page,
like
telling
it.
people what to think. Like, it's just so horrible. But I in Carnage, Cletus takes over quite a lot. Like, you will follow Cletus's horrible thoughts. And there's this thing about the thing that I think that people will discover at some point is that I think that Cletus has some points. That's the problem, and I think that's why I'm so.
You're saying they can't separate the person writing from the psycho killer?
No, I think that I'm struggling. I'm just like, he needs. I don't want to kill people.
Yes, you should say
like
that.
it seems like a lot of paperwork and clean up. I don't know, but I'm just saying. I really enjoy writing Cletus. It's been disturbingly easy to write Cletus. And I'm sort of.
Well, you're selling me. I like Venom. I'm a Venom girl.
I'm a Carnage guy.
And
Good.
so, but you're selling me on, well, of course I'd read it anyway. But now I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, but I think it is sort of like we are doing something very fun, and like I'm writing Venom with Al, and we are sort of.
I'm sorry, Al who?
Al Ewing, our
Ewing?
God and Savior, Lord. I don't know. I
love that guy.
Yeah, I can tell because he went.
Yes. The thing about Al, he's so fucking good, and whenever he will, we will have these sort of meetings where we'll talk about things, and he will think through something and think a little bit and be like, but what about? And then the solution sort of appears.
He has a fascination with Secret Wars too.
Al?
Yes, Al Ewing loves Secret Wars too.
See,
I was drinking at a bar with him at New York Comic Con, and he was telling me and everybody else around us about how much he loved Secret Wars 2.
He had a shirt on that said Secret Wars.
Yeah, sure did. Because I was like, what's that about?
I think I've heard him talk about it, but now that you mention
he
it.
loves talking about this Secret Wars 2. And I was like, I've never heard anybody give praise to Secret Wars 2. This is the most amazing thing that I can't, like,
well, I would say if Al loves it, there's probably something to it that you should all go and reread. No, never mind.
Phil, well, you sold Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Go out and buy a Venom comic.
Please.
Omar, how does Phil feel about symbiote?
Oh, let me. Okay, wait.
Phil.
Go back to Phil. This is really important.
Okay.
This is really important. Phil hates Venom. Like, Phil is an old school creator, old school collector. He loves classic Marvel. He loves Silver Age, Bronze Age. But anytime I announce like a Venom Epic Collection or a Venom Omnibus or whatever, Phil's like, trash. No, thank you. So the fact that he said he's going out to buy a Venom comic from Torunn Grønbekk, I don't know how you were able to. I can't. He's been following me for years, and I haven't been able to.
You haven't been able to tell him? Phil,
No,
buy Carnage. Phil, send me your thingy. I'll send you Carnage, and I'll try to, like, I'll give you the first taste for free, and then we'll see.
That's so sweet. Send me your
Please,
thingy.
She's like a
I'll
drug
give you
dealer.
first.
Sounds horrible. Send me your thingy.
Free, Phil.
Just want people to read Carnage, and the thing is, like, I feel like if people hate Carnage, that's fine, because I feel like the people who will get it, and it's gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited to see what people are gonna think on Wednesday. Jordan, I will at some. I will need to. The thing is, I don't like to give my opinion without having. I can do like the knee jerk thing. But I would like to be more. I don't know. I will let me. Send me a message after this, and I'll give you my opinion.
There you go, Jordan. Send Torunn Grønbekk a message after the stream, and she'll give you her opinion. My opinion.
The thing is, like, as long as I'm very happy to get messages, as long as they're not, requests for feed pics
like,
or
hey,
whatever.
No. Wait, request for what?
Like feed pics, and because that's mostly, I feel like at this point, what I get. And the things I joked about it at some point. I'm going to get more now just because I said it.
Well, earlier Ryan said near feet condition.
I don't get enough. Wait a second. No. We need to go back. Wait a second. I don't get enough of that.
You don't get the feed pics?
No, it's happened a couple of times.
I can redirect them to you if you want to.
I don't need that. No.
Well,
I'm saying I don't get enough.
Sometimes I feel like my Instagram inbox is just like it's people asking for feed pics, and they're like old schoolmates being like hello, and it's some sort of MLM nonsense. Like it's one or the other. That's my Instagram inbox. It's horrible. Just whenever I get like a comics question, I'm like, yeah, this is brilliant.
But is it a comics question to lure you in a state of Valkyrie to be like,
hey,
you like Carnage? All right.
Could you shave your toe and film it?
That Mojo's asking if you could give us an idea how many issues your Red Sonja run will be, and does Dynamite plan on continuing series with other writers if you leave?
Second, I don't know. I will write it as long as they let me. I think we're planned out for the next. I think we're like 12, 13.
Good.
I think I planned. I am still enjoying every moment. Walter is still drawing the shit out of it. Like, it's just so fun.
Thank you. I don't know if you shared mine and Melanie's review, but he commented on the video, and he was so sweet. He was like, "Thank you so much for all the kind things you said about me."
He is possibly the sweetest man in the world.
Well, that's impossible. I am. But go ahead.
Of course, the second sweetest man in the world. It's sincerely though. Like it's just.
I'm just humbled about it.
But Walter he should at this point be very annoyed with me just because of all the he will finish an issue before I can sleep, and he will be like, yeah, here it is, here it's done, and then I'll scramble together the next pages. He will send me the layouts within the next 7 hours. I'm not sure how this man is just so fast, so good.
He is.
I don't know, and it's so lovely.
I really like his art.
It's just such a delight to work with him.
Oh, this is a good question.
Did you pitch on Thor for your issues after Donny Cates left, or did Marvel come to you?
Marvel came to me, and they asked me if I could do some issues, and some issues became more than some issues, so it became 7 in total.
What does Carnage Cletus do to attract your attention? Round B said a similar thing of how fun it was to write the book.
See, I'm not entirely sure. Like I didn't know I would enjoy it as much as I do. I think it's Cletus. I think it's sort of rawness in Cletus's mind, and the fact that, because what the other writers had done before I took over was sort of build up Carnage's powers to the ridiculous, right? Like he's so powerful at the moment, and that is sort of intrinsically uninteresting to have someone who's just like exceptionally powerful.
Yeah.
But having a maniac trying to figure out what to do with that power and what the meaning of it all is, that's more interesting.
Yeah.
So it is a sort of, I think it's just Cletus when he got in, like when we figured out how to have Cletus in the book in a sort of fun way, everything felt like it just. I've never written a book with more joy or with less procrastination and with like it's just delightful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that you're saying this about a serial killer.
I know it's horrible.
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, seriously.
I like that. I would love to have an opinion on Spider-Man 2 game version of Venom, but I don't, because I desperately want to play games and do things that I used to do, but I just write. That's what I do. I do nothing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I respect that. I don't know why I'm clapping. That's the bourbon. So
Lars says that there's a beautiful drawn series. I really do not like the stories he tells. See, Lars, might be. The thing is, that's. I agree that it is a absolutely gorgeously drawn series.
Phil, I think that will work. That's a good idea.
Yeah, please do, Phil.
You send Omar.
Wait, what am I gonna get? Feet pics?
No,
yes,
I got you.
Me and Phil were hooking you up. Phil is shaving his toe.
I thought you and James had something going on. What's happening here?
We're all coming for it. Was the thing with from Dusk Till Dawn. We know how to read between the lines. We know what
I used to. I don't know how to read between. This is building off of that Death of Venomverse book.
Yes.
Yes.
We are going pretty much like, but it is.
Oh, this is a good question.
If you had the opportunity to have read Sonja cross over with any characters from Marvel, who would it be?
It's just so many possibilities. I don't even know. Like Sonja in any sort of Norse mythology setting would be delightful, but then again, she would be delightful almost anywhere. I think maybe I would like knee-jerk reaction would probably be to do something like that, like send her off to Asgard somewhere, down to fight something with the gods and have no respect for them at all. That would be fun. But it is
Valkyrie.
Yeah, of course. Like we get them all in there. Let's do it. But it is sort of Dr. Doom. Mm-hmm. I would say that when we're talking about like how easy it was to write Carnage, Dr. Doom is it was the second easiest thing I've ever written. Like Dr. Doom comes to me like I have 60% of my brain is Dr. Doom at all times. It's great. Red Sonja versus Predator. What would that look like? That would be disgusting.
Blood.
That would be bloody.
That would be
great.
That would be awesome.
See, we didn't do this last time. I couldn't see the comments last time.
No, I would show because Melanie wasn't.
I just do a better job.
Right.
Wow.
Well, no, because that's just because I'm sitting. That's my job. Because that's what I do. I'm the assistant.
No, you're not the assistant. You're the co-host.
Oh, you're the Omni, whatever the fuck you were.
Oh yeah, I'm the knee of Omni.
Okay. Well.
Wait, you get it?
Yeah, now I certainly do.
Oh, I would have to have it explained to me if I were you. I'm really tense with stuff like that. I'd be like 5 hours in. Oh, like the book Omni.
Torunn writing an Amazon series. I mean, come on. I think that would that would be lovely. That sounds great. Well, and I like that you think that I would be able to do it. I think it's I feel like at this point just trying to write female characters without falling into I think the easiest thing to do is just to avoid having the amazed audience, because that's one of my least favorite Red Sonja trope is whenever she meets someone on the way, like some guy, and he's just amazed for issues on end that she can hold a sword. I don't like it. Just be less surprised that women can do things. That's what we're going for.
Gotcha. Well, so Lars has asked a question, and kind of Josh asked earlier, and you said what did you? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me just read the question. Have you any stories that would be an original graphic novel that is not a superhero or Red Sonja's story? And you said yes.
I have some coming up. I'm
But
writing.
Is there any hints you could give? You did not delve into it.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But I will return to talk about it if you let me.
Yeah.
When the time when we get there.
I don't know.
You don't even wear it a watch.
I'm not even wearing a watch.
Wait, what? How did I word that? You don't even wear
I
a
don't think
watch.
I've talked for like the last 30 minutes. Have I talked for the last 30
You
minutes?
talked a lot. And I had 2 questions already planned for her, and I got to ask them. Thank you very
I'm
much.
sorry.
Because she's an awesome writer, and I had writing questions.
She did. Dude, let me tell you a little behind the scenes, Torunn. She came prepared. She wrote things out, like actually with a pen
but
and
it was
paper.
one. It was only one question. I wrote down so I won't forget.
I've never done that in an interview.
Because you have a better memory.
I know I have like I wing it and I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm not gone. I'm still here, Matt B.
Oh, look at
Thank you.
oh,
I'm still here.
Matt.
I will say that.
No, hold on. Let me answer Matt B's question. No, I'm
yes, you're pointing.
No, I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you.
Yo, you were pointing at Torunn. No, what you were doing.
I'm letting the ladies speak because I don't want to be that guy. They have something going on, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, actually, Torunn and Melanie, let me tell you about X-Men. I'm not gonna be that guy.
Okay, Omar, what I will say that last time I was on, you had some fucking brilliantly insightful questions.
I did.
And if you
Not
didn't
this time,
if you didn't write them down, I mean, good for you. I'm just saying it was one of those because I do a lot of these interviews, and sometimes you get questions that are unanswerable because you want to say something, right? And if you can't, it's not going to be a very good interview. So last time it was just a joy until I obviously at some point realized that we were being taped and beamed out into the world, and I was like, oh, what did I say?
I felt the same way. Like I told Melanie, it was like talking to a friend. And
it was
honestly,
I was upstairs, so I was like, when is he gonna get done?
After the interview, you and I talked for another hour or two, and it was like talking to a friend.
It was good.
But this time around, my wife wanted to talk to you, so
she came prepared.
Here. Oh, he said, "Are you sure you want to?" I don't know.
No.
He did.
I said,
no, you did.
I said you got work tomorrow.
Let
me know when you want me to take over. And I was going to be over here in the corner drinking bourbon, and I happened.
like in the corner, like off camera, like.
Yeah, so I'm just. You guys had a good thing going, and I'm just being really quiet. When I need to ask a question, I will.
Yeah, I enjoy the fact that it just feels like a nice conversation, and I keep forgetting, as I said, that we are, live, and that probably you will record it and put it on YouTube. It's fine.
It's fine.
I don't think I've said anything that will make me. Maybe no. I don't think so. I think we're fine because usually what I will remember one sentence and I'll be like, what was the context for that one? Like what was the point of that one?
That's the worst.
Like when in Stockholm, like bestiality was having a moment. Like there were so many horrible videos out there, and I kept joking about it, and then I went to bed every night being like, oh no. This was bad. And the Swedes are very polite. They're very polite, sort of. They will let you just do your thing.
Last time you said the Swedes are very polite.
They are very polite, and it is sort of, and I just keep babbling on, and then I say horrible things, and I go to bed at night and be like, oh my god, why did I tell the guy the thing?
Logan would love you to join a stream. He's asking Omar's. Omar does streams with Lars Oddfell, and she's got the little thing through the O in her name too.
Yes,
anyway, Peter. When you guys talk about upcoming Marvel collected editions and such,
Torunn knows she's got an open invitation.
But I mean,
come on whenever she wants to, whatever time it is. I'll make time.
Whoa, you're gonna give her access to the StreamYard. She just starts alive.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
I will get canceled. Oh no, wait.
It's not
we talked about it. We talked about this earlier. We were talking about the Exterminators by Leo Williams. and we were talking. Actually, this was in the AMA. People were asking me like, "What's like the thirstiest the X-Men have been?" I was like, "Oh, Exterminators by Leah Williams." And then I thought, "Oh, if Chris Claremont had written that, he would have been called out for being a pervert."
Oh yeah. But I mean, that is a sort of fascinating thing, I think, in general. I saw a review of someone, I'm not going to say the writer, who I know personally, and I think the reviewer sort of thought that he is a sexist pig because the review was exceptionally skewed, but he's not. He's one of the nicest, loveliest people in the world. And I think like if I'd written that issue, it would have been viewed as a sort of feminist something, but instead it was just killed. And I find it a little interesting. I find it interesting that we're so on edge at the moment in general, that everything is, I don't know. We are like, if you go on TikTok at the moment, you have people like going in, seeing how the Starbucks cups in the video is positioned to make, like, is it a political statement or is it not? And it's fascinating to me because if people, like, they have more than enough people like talking about politics, we can just take them down. I don't know. It's a fascinating thing to me. And I do enjoy writing things that can be, I've written Punisher stories that I feel like are like, they're not, I mean, we're shooting up an alt-right sort of a spoof of the Proud Boys. It seems to me quite obvious what Frank thinks about these people, and I've had people come up and be like, "Oh, what I like about you is that you get it. Like we're the same." I'm like, I'm not sure we are, but I do sort of enjoy that you were able to think that we are, though.
You're kind of hot in a drag queen kind of way.
Thank you. I think so too.
No, Torunn, not you, me.
I know. That's what I was saying.
I feel like that too, and I think my name would have been like chili con queso. I think that would have been my drag
That's a
queen
fucking
name.
great one.
I think that's pretty hot. And this guy, obviously.
Hello.
Thank you so much for that, moderators. All right. Good evening from Brazil. What's up, man?
Sean Desuk was asking if you had any fun Norwegian phrases or idioms.
Oh,
see that maybe Lars can jump on and.
Oh, Lars is here. Lars is here.
Yeah. He will remember them before I do. But I was trying to explain ugler i mosen, which is sort of like owls on the moor, I suppose. Like, it is like suspicious. I don't know, we have a bunch of those that are just insane, and sometimes very late at night, like now when I've been drinking, I sort of just translate them directly, and it doesn't work at all, and I sound like
what's the literal translation for that?
Owls on the moor.
Owls on the moor.
That's like the literal translation.
Oh,
I don't know. Like birds on the roof. I don't fucking know what birds.
Owls, like
owls. Owls.
Yeah.
Where did you get the idea to give Black Widow a symbiote?
Great question.
Listen, we knew, like, we wanted this new symbiote. We had a discussion. We had a bunch. I sent them. I went through all the female Marvel characters that could possibly, like, maybe, and we were sort of toying around with giving Dylan a sort of maybe a love interest, but he's, I mean, at best 17, right? Like, he is, we aged him up at some point, so you can't really do, like, needed a kid, and we had a long list of people, and then at some point Devin came back and what about Black Widow? And I've never said yes to anything faster in my life, because it just works. And it is such a terrifying thought, this idea of some alien creature having access to all of Natasha's darkest secrets and sort of being born into it and out of it. So I mean, it was, I love the Widow symbiote. I think it's one of those. I think it's gonna stay around for a while, just because it's just so
Oh,
That seemed cool. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something that you already know, Torunn. Like whenever conventions happen, people love cosplaying, right? You've seen a lot of cosplays. One of my favorite things to see cosplayed are like Transformers from IDW. And what's really interesting about that is that like they have a huge fan following of ladies that love cosplaying as these characters that have been around for decades. But the twist on them have come from IDW. And I feel like there's going to be a resurgence of that from Carnage.
I mean, are you kidding? Please write a symbiote.
When you were talking about Black Widow, I was like, oh, this sounds like a great cosplay.
I mean, I think people are gonna love her and keep her with the symbiote. And if the symbiote's gonna move to someone else, it's gonna be a horrifying thing. And it's a delightful. But it's been a lot of discussions about it because there was something happened at San Diego where someone said that Black Widow is the new Venom. And I'm not going to comment on like story stuff. In theory, I'm not supposed to, I suppose, because
don't do
I mean
that.
the story is what the story is. But that was highly exaggerated, I suppose. And I think it was interesting when we launched the symbiote, Natasha with the symbiote. It was sort of like, oh, are we not doing good day? Yeah, that's a good one. That's great, Lars. That's perfect. Do you understand what that means?
You're talking to me and Melanie, because I understand Melanie does.
Good day, man. Axe shaft. It is a.
Yeah, Melanie, do you understand what that means?
talk about a boner.
Oh my god.
No, I don't know what it means.
There are children in the
That's
chat.
right. Okay, I'm sorry. That was but yeah, but that was great, Lars. That was just what I wanted. But yeah, it was sort of people were like, oh, is it going to be Venom? What's going to happen? But I think what we're looking at now is sort of what's going to happen. We're driving towards a destination, and Natasha is very much with us as Widow, and she's so cool. It's so fun to write.
When you're working with Marvel, so when you're working with Marvel versus working with Dynamite, how many issues do you have done in advance for each of them?
I mean, it sort of varies depending on how well planned this has been. I suppose Dynamite has been better at the planning in many ways. Like they've started earlier, and we got more issues done before the release and everything. With Marvel, it depends on the artist and the delays and everything. But I mean, we are very much up to sometimes just like right up to this. We get pages the last day. I haven't seen the colors when it goes to print. It could be quite chaotic at times. But yeah, I've never had, like, Dynamite has been very good with those sort of things. And it sort of helps that Walter is just a machine. Like, he will produce the pages.
That's awesome.
Are there characters you feel you could never get into enough to see yourself writing or drawing them?
I think that my main issue, I'm not sure I would be great at like a team book, like a bunch, like seven characters, 5 characters. Oh, is Omar disappearing from us? Is he giving in?
I'm muted.
No, I'm muted.
No.
He just has to pee.
check. No, I just had to check on the kids.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's good. This is great. You should though. But yeah, like I think it's a team aspect that I'm sort of mostly terrified about, just because I like to give characters time to evolve and have like a proper arc, and I realized at some point when I was writing Realm of X that a lot of the plans and a lot of the subtleties that we wanted to get across, like, we couldn't, we just didn't have the space to do it. And it is. Yeah, but I'm sure there are, like, in the Marvel universe, there are a bunch of characters that I'd sort of like, I'm not sure what I would do with them, but it might be just a question of research and getting back to the point of origin and trying to figure out why someone decided to create this character in the first place. Because a lot of the times, like, if you see a character, then you you have an idea who they are now, and then you go back to the origin and you realize, oh, this character was created for this very specific purpose, and it might be very interesting, and it might be possible to sort of do something with it in one way or another.
Somebody had a question along those lines earlier, and I wonder if I had shared it or not. I hope I did. I don't remember. And that was a really good answer, and I don't like saying good answer as in like somehow judging the quality. I'm just saying like, wow, that's a good point. To be like, to write a team would be really difficult. That never entered my head. Like I definitely would be apprehensive to write a team.
But it sounds so cool, right? Because you can play around with a bunch of characters, and it's just, of course you want to do it, right?
People are really good at it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I just realized like I didn't get to do the things that I wanted to do, and it might be just the format of a team book that's just how it is. And it might be sort of a thing that I can figure out at some point, but that's sort of the one thing that I truly like I hesitate to get into. So, yeah. Do you have any practices or exercises for writing? I mean, not that I do. I have things that I do if I'm properly stuck. Especially if I know what I'm supposed to be writing down, but I can't seem to write it down. Sometimes I'll use the mic and I'll just talk into my computer, and then some horrible nonsense will appear on the screen, and
like
it's so
free
easy.
writing. Free writing
Yeah.
is saying it.
That's possibly.
Yeah.
But as a warm up and everything, I've been thinking about that. It might be something to sort of play around with, because what I do is I wait until I hate myself and then I write. Like that's my process most of the time. I mean, I have to write every day, so of course, like there's a lot of self-hatred involved in this excellent process.
Okay, so I heard you correctly. You said I wait until you hate yourself.
Myself. Yeah, because it is sort of it is the thing that I'm supposed to do. It's the thing that people like. I think sometimes when I enjoy it a lot, I'm just saying if you have an idea, any idea
You
in your
enjoy
head.
hating yourself a lot?
Well, I do constantly. Like because the thing is, you have this idea and it's brilliant and beautiful and perfect, and there's no problems with this idea, and that's just how it is. And whenever you start working on it, you will start to see all the little plot holes and all the little things, and that dialogue that you thought was going to be so romantic and so perfect, just it sort of failed and you couldn't quite get it there. So when you have the idea in your head, it's always going to be great. So when you know that it's going to be worse when you sit down and write it down, it can sometimes be very hard to begin writing, right? So and that's when, and I know all of these things because I'm at this point a full-time fucking writer. So I need to, and that's where the self-hatred comes into play, where I'm like, just get the fuck on with it.
And writing being my job and having people judge it, it's like, and then money being on the line because of it. Like I just
because that is a beautiful thing, right? Like over this past week, I had like it was a COVID week. We all had COVID. It was horrible. I wrote all of 2 pages, which means that I didn't get the paycheck for the last week, right? I need to fix that somehow. So that's tomorrow morning when I get up, I need to write a bunch of pages so I can buy Christmas presents. And I don't have time to sit around wanking with my perfect idea. I just need to get it out there. And the thing is, most of the times I've learned this after doing it a lot, that whenever I send off a script and I sort of hate it, it turns out to be quite good in the end. It's just, you just have to get to the point where it's sort of like you're not quite sure. Like if you think you're too brilliant, then you might not have pushed yourself hard enough. I don't know.
Gotcha. That was inspirational in a backhanded way. Not backhanded. What's the word? Reverse psychology. Yes.
Reverse psychology. See, that is because you asked me to say something inspirational to your students. and I've been
Come on.
struggling with that for a while now, and that's
No,
all
please
I can.
stop. Please stop. Please stop.
That's all I can come up with. Is just like, oh, do you hate yourself? Then it's probably a nugget of something in there that you can
sweet.
use.
So all I need to do is clip this part and show it to my students. I'm not going to.
Well, if you're gonna clip it, I'll smile. There you go. That's it.
Let's see. No, but it did make sense. It made sense what you said. Thank you. Was it your idea for the Carnage #1 cover to be an homage to the Evil Dead 2 poster?
It was not my idea, but I did fucking love it though. Like when I saw that cover come in, and the thing is, like, they don't necessarily tell me, and there are covers for Carnage that I haven't seen. Like it's a machine that sort of happens, but that cover, man, like it's just so cool. So no, it was not my idea, but maybe I can just take credit. Yeah, it was my idea. It's very clever of me.
You came up with that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's canon now.
Can you say your name for Chris, please?
For Chris, it's Torunn Grønbekk. Most Americans say Torunn or some variation of Torunn, whatever. Like I don't like you say whatever you want. Say it. I like just say it with confidence. That's what you just.
Torunn Grønbekk.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
What I one more time? Say it one more time.
Torunn Grønbekk.
Y'all hear that?
I think it's like I get into the like Americans will be like, oh, but I want to get it right, and it's
they really
like,
do.
Yeah,
that's why they have to say tortilla instead of tortilla.
Oh, you put the emphasis on the first syllable. Torunn, not Torunn.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever you want. It is. I will answer to anything, but it is. It is Thor, like Thor as in Thor, and Un means sort of to love. It's beautiful.
You all have a lot of sayings about birds.
We do.
And I like birds.
It's easy to be, but like it is just. The thing is, I will use this in meetings or in pitches or whatever, and I just sound like I'm absolutely insane. And it can be a little hard to keep track of what's English and what's not. I don't know.
You mean like
I think you're saying like that she would use an idiom that doesn't make sense in English.
But I think English really absorbs a lot of idioms,
I mean, right? Idioms in general don't make sense. But yeah, like people wouldn't know what it's supposed to mean.
Do you find certain types of characters more fun or easier to write than others? Like Carnage and a Punisher are more fun to write than Thor, Captain America, or Captain Marvel.
Well, I mean, of those examples, the thing is, I like say Superman. I that would stump me just because he's so good, and I do like that there's some sort of something that you can poke around with, right? Like you need some sort of. We're all horrible. That's sort of the through line of this interview. I think like we're all horrible people, and yeah, except you, Omar. You are. You're the star shine of our lives. That's what you are. The rest of us, we're fucking horrible. So you need something, and I think there is a sort of like with Punisher, there was a huge discussion like, is Punisher a bad man or a good man? And I think it's interesting how people will be like, of course he's bad. Like there's no gray areas here at all. But I do think he represents a very sort of gut reaction to. Like all of us sort of feel that way in many ways, like, oh, if we could just kill them and get it over with, we can get somewhere. And I think it's a little dangerous to just be like, oh, that's all a horrible thing. But of course, like you can't have Frank Castle in real life. That's not a thing. Like you know what I mean. But I like that there is a drive, and like if we go back to talking about like why a character was created, I think it's very easy to see why Frank Castle was created as a character. It's a very easy to see like, oh, like if of course he would always become a character at some point. And like with Carnage and Cletus Kasady, it is. I don't think in the history of serial killers there has been ever a killer that has just adored just the killing part more. Usually when serial killers like to sort of add on a little nonsense about why they kill. but I mean, I like that there's something there. But there are stuff with like Thor's got issues. He's got daddy issues, mommy issues. Like, it's great. It's a bunch of shit to work with. So my thing is just, I like it when people have some problems that can be relatable in some way, right?
Well,
Because you want
That makes
to.
a complicated character, right? Like that makes something have multiple layers. Having a bland character that just does things for the sake of doing them gets kind of boring after a while, right?
Yeah. So it is sort of like, I don't know, but I do find it like every time. I think we concluded that I was a grumpy old 60-year-old man or something last time I was here, because that's sort of like, I would like to write Wolverine. That and I would like to
Yes.
I would like to write Wolverine getting in bar fights, like that sort of
Well, I mean,
Wolverine. You know what I mean?
what Wolverine does, right?
Yeah,
He
I
gets in
know.
fights.
I don't want him. I like it's slightly brooding, but not too much. It's just, I don't know.
Well, Lionheart develops and writes his own superheroes and villains. What's the best way to introduce these ideas? Short story or one issue?
Well, I think if you can do, well, it depends on like what you can afford. But if you want to get your story noticed, get something done and out there. So short story, they're great. But it's so much harder to write a 10-page story than a 20-page story. So it sort of depends, but it's just like if you can get it out there in some sort of affordable way, and just give it away for free so people can
Give it away.
see
Give
it.
it away. Give it away now.
Yes, Logan, I do need. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, there's sort of like every opportunity that I've ever gotten was based on like a web comic that I made years ago called Past. Which isn't necessarily a great comic book, but it showed that I could do sequential storytelling, and it was enough that like I had both. I had offers from like both the big twos to write for them. Like my first paid comics works was for DC,
What
and
was it?
it was like it was never published. That's the thing. It was Detective Comics. I wrote a Batman story that was just. I handed in the story on like Tuesday. The editor quit on Thursday. I don't think anyone's ever read it, but it was my first professional writing gig that I
That's
was paid
huge.
to do. I
And
know,
they paid you.
Yeah.
heartbreaking. Fucking like, would you?
Chris, I'm so glad I picked Lionheart's question first because you got some advice from his question, and I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to answer this question.
Well, I mean, it is a sort of like, but the thing is, it's really hard. It depends on what you want to do. But I think it's just, if you want to be a writer, you need to get artists who wants to work with you. And the only way to do that is to show that you know what you're doing, or pay them. You should pay them. But if you're going to pay them, then you should start small so you can afford it. So it's sort of like a whole thing here, right? And it's a lot easier to get people to read 7 pages than it is to make people read 180 pages. So if you have your 360-page epic in your mind, just start with something smaller and just keep writing the other thing, but just start smaller and get it out there. Make people interested, put it online somewhere, somehow. I don't know.
Ivy's question is, you write a lot of
That's a
male
good question.
characters. How do you connect to a male character so easily?
Well, I think it's just because I've read comics since I was 7, and most of the characters were male. Most of the good characters were male.
Yes.
And that is just, it's just an effect of the times, I think. It's not the case anymore. I think there are some fantastic female characters. But when I was growing up, there were a bunch of really fantastic comics, as there are a lot of fantastic movies, that they just don't have female characters that are interesting in any way. And I'm not saying that that's sort of like, I think it's, yeah, but I mean it's true though. Like it's a pretty well established fact at this point that we like, if people make pop culture, whatever it is, just about the people who are who they are, like the people they see every day, it's going to be like a boys club doing something. And I think there are some great, excellent stories that I absolutely love, but it's just, there were more male characters than there were female characters. But having said that, I do love writing female characters.
Well, I was gonna say, so coming into the world of comics, do you ever have that issue where editors or publishers are like, "Hey, we want you to write a female character, but only a female character"? You ever? I don't want to say typecast, but has that happened where publishers and editors are like, "Oh no, we want you to do a series with a lead female character, not the male character. We got a writer for that."
I think I've been pretty lucky, I think, and but I mean, I don't think there's a coincidence that I'm writing the only all-female X-Men team at the moment. I think, but I think it sort of comes to the territory of being one of the few female writers working for Marvel, that you sort of like, if you have female characters, it's cool to have women writing them. But I'm very happy that I'm not limited to writing women, just because it's interesting to be able to deal with other issues and deal with other audiences. Because there's still, like, if you have a female-led book, there will be like a different reader group, I suppose. So it's sort of like it's fun to, when I'm writing Venom, like, these are people who have never read anything of mine before, and I've gotten so many I was so skeptical when I heard you were taking over the book, but I like it.
Yeah.
And I like, so why were you skeptical? Well, like, what was it? Like, which part of my exceptionally violent history, like in books, not in real life?
Well, I think we seem to forget that sometimes, right? Because we do get put into this situation where only women can write women characters. Only, like, it just happens a lot. This is a really good point.
Marvel Bab, I'll come back to you.
That's why Christopher Priest ended up leaving comics. He was only getting offers to write black characters, and it was aggravating because that's what happens. Is like they get, African American gets put into African American characters, and that's it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to write Superman. I don't want to write just, Firestorm, Black Panther, or Black Lightning. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, he gets put into this corner, and it's like, I want to write other characters.
Yeah, because you want to write the things that you love, right? So the thing is, like, I wouldn't want to write Lady Punisher. I want to write Frank Castle, right? Like, that's
right.
And it's just, I'm very happy that I was sort of allowed to do that. And I think a lot of like, I've been lucky because people, both creators and editors, have been like, yeah, let's give her a chance. Let's like, and like Jason, when he was doing the Punisher thing, they needed someone to sort of fill in a few issues, because they were having like 30-page issues. Every issue was oversized. They needed some issues to sort of pad the schedule, and they possibly needed another writer. And he was the one who went, but what about Torunn? I've never seen anyone who enjoys Frank Castle more. And it is, I'm very happy that Marvel let me do that.
Do you like Frank Castle more than Carl Potts likes Frank Castle?
Jesus Christ. This is
a good answer. Jesus Christ.
I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ.
So
Marvel that. Read Carnage on Wednesday.
Yep. Comes out Wednesday.
I wanna point something out right now. I believe this is the most flattering comment. Okay? You ready for this? Hold on. I'm gonna explain. CC Podcast lost. Hey. No, listen. Torunn Grønbekk is a girl?
There we are.
Awesome. Because when I know it's really hard to believe for young people, but when women would go to conventions and find out that Chris Claremont was really a man, they were like, that's crazy. I thought Chris Claremont was just a name that you were using as a woman. Because so many women went up to Chris Claremont and said, you understand women so well. and I thought you were a woman. Like, so that is one hell of a compliment. Torunn Grønbekk is a girl. Awesome. Seriously.
I love that.
That's
I would say that I did a signing at a store in the States.
Okay.
And it was so cool because I was walking around the thing and there was a line like around the block, and like an
For
idiot,
you?
I was like,
For you?
the thing is, that was the thing. I was walking, I was
That's
like,
huge.
what's going on here? It's me. I was going on, and then I got to the store, and I was like, I'm Torunn Grønbekk, and they were like, yeah, he's gonna be here in a minute. I'm like, no, I'm Torunn Grønbekk, and they're like, yeah, he's gonna be here in a minute.
Oh, the store was saying.
Yeah, so I was sort of like, I went from like some confusion to very like I was fucking flying there, and then I just right down back to the ground where I belong. It was great.
That's right. That's right. I'm Torunn Grønbekk. Get
Yes,
the hell
I
out
am,
my way.
but I am, and it was awkward as fuck. And we had one of those like, how do we proceed from this thing? I will tell a story that includes like horse fucking, and it's like a joke. It was a joke. And then we were fine.
Then they were fine. Yeah. That's all it takes.
Yes.
And Josh says, I just have fun with my characters a lot happen to be women.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the easiest way to solve this, is just have both men and women in your story. So it's a little harder when there's one character on the book. That's the book, but just in general, it's a good rule for anyone just to have more like both or all genders in your book. It sort of solves the problem.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it's been 2 hours. We've had a blast. I think
I've had a blast.
Probably a good place. Is this a good place to stop?
You know what I mean? You're asking.
I'm asking both of you all.
Well,
it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just I don't know. So it's up to you. The thing is,
I want to respect your time.
Melanie says respect.
The thing is, this is the most fun I've had in such a long time. As I said, it's been a dreadful week. And I realized like we are living in a world where there's still dreadful stuff, and me having the sniffles, it doesn't count. I'm just saying all of us were sick, and it was just it was tough. It was rough. So it was lovely to just talk to people about things that I enjoy more than anything. And I realized at some point, like I can talk to non-comics people, but I just sound insane. Like if you see my work emails, the things that I write in my emails going out for work, like it is. In any other world, it is absolute insanity, and I love it. I'm just saying, talking to people who doesn't understand comics, which is most of Norway, if we're honest, is a very hard. But the thing is, like, I'm trying to explain to the parents at the school like what I do for a living, and they're like, "Oh, so do you write the movies?" No, I don't write the movies, and then we're back to a sort of, I don't know.
Listen to this compliment. As someone who never got around to watching, which you should watch, Logan. Your first interview, I just want to say, Torunn. I'm sorry. How do you pronounce her name? Melanie?
I can't.
Torunn.
That
you are an awesome person. I've enjoyed this very much. Gonna watch the first interview.
That is sincerely I mean, I feel like that was the thing with the last time I went. You know what I did? Sincerely, this is what I did, because my father does not understand what I do for a living. My
father doesn't understand what I do for a living, so I understand.
Yeah, but it's just I keep trying to explain it, and he's like, "So Darth Vader, is that the space thing?" Like it's just yeah, but it's impossible, right? So I made him go in and read all the comments from the last interview and
watch my interview.
Yeah, because you guys you said so many nice things about me. I was just like, this is. I feel like so.
You're validated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I made my father go and see the interview and then read all the comments where you said all those nice things about me. It's just, it's the loveliest thing.
But people meant that about you. Like, people really like you, your work.
It's just a matter of time. That's the thing. Just give me time. I will fuck it up in the end. But it's
Won't we all? I'm sure I'll say something in the end that will get me canceled too. We need a real stock with Torunn. Look, Torunn knows that she has an open invitation on this channel anytime. You want a review from Dusk Till Dawn with me?
Oh, I would be delighted.
Are you a fan of? Are you a fan of Salma Hayek?
Oh God, it's just the thing is,
Salma Hayek.
The thing is, I think she is the one. She's the one actress that like. Let's not get into like her abilities as an actress necessarily. She's just so hot that it doesn't fucking matter.
It's a pass,
She's just,
right?
and in all those 90s movies, it was just like, it's just.
Danny Trejo had a tattoo off his chest of her in prison. So then when they worked together on a movie, he was like, "Look, you're on my chest." She was like, "Okay."
That must be the most awkward thing ever. I can't even. That's horrifying.
Well, really quick, Adrian's asking, do you think Red Sonja is going to break the 25 issue limit in Dynamite?
I don't know. I don't know. Depends on
how many issues are you on right now as far as the script?
I'm writing 8 right now.
Okay, 8. So I think what they're trying to say is they want you to break Gail Simone's streak.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'll fucking try, but I'll see. As I said, I'm enjoying it so much. It's so light. I feel no responsibility to teach anyone about anything when I write Red Sonja. It's just the delight of it, right? Like it's just fun. And it's I don't know. I love it. So I'll keep going as long as it'll have me, and as long as like it's selling.
What's your favorite scotch?
Highland Park, but I do enjoy because they did a thing like I like the Highland Park, the 24-year-old Highland Park, and they stopped selling it at some point. And they made a sort of blend thing. I think it's the same thing that you were talking about.
Well, that's what I was talking about, the blend thing with bourbon.
Yeah, but because they used to do like they had 12, 18, and 24, and I just like there is a distinct difference from 18 to 24. And it's so fucking good. But then they started doing like that. They call it like Viking names, so they have like Einar and different names, which are still good, still great. I'm just saying, nothing sort of. I still have a tiniest piece of Highland Park 24. Yeah.
All right. Here's a comment from Lars.
Oh, he's saying nice things about. Thank you, Lars. I do hope you're awake somewhere in Norway. Hanging on that 3:08 in the morning.
What if he's the guy that sold you books when you were younger?
Can you imagine?
Whoa!
And he's watching right now. Didn't even know you were gonna be on. Can you believe that? Like that's full circle. That's creepy.
That would be marvelous.
That would be marvelous. I've been on your website. Can you put a list of recommendation of books and movies?
I'm actually listen. This is what I should be doing. I'm starting a newsletter like right now. If anyone wants an original painting of Odin that I made, go to my newsletter and I'll send a thing out tomorrow. Anyway, point is, I'll have recommendations of things that I enjoy in the newsletter, and it's free and it's just.
How do you sign up for the newsletter? What is your website?
That's a good question there. It's Grønbekk, my last name, .substack.com.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Or just find me on Twitter. Yeah. Sincerely, I didn't think I would enjoy writing newsletters as much as I do, but I can write anything. Like no one's stopping me. I can just put whatever I want in there. So I have nonsense, some news.
Nonsense.
There are like I put the trail cams with all the moose and the foxes and the stuff.
Oh, that's so totally.
James,
I was hoping you would put it in there. There you go.
Look my God, dude, James Abel. I told you.
I love reading Chip Zdarsky's newsletter. Like he's just crazy nuts in it.
It's so fucking funny. The thing is, I hope that Chip has on his phone when he does the funny selfies. I hope he has 900 failed selfies for every one he chooses. I hope his camera roll is just endless amounts of failed funny selfies.
No,
because they're so good.
His self-deprecation he has down to an art.
Yeah,
and he just on the first try. I feel like he's just so good at just like click.
He did at some point. He made like when he was still on Twitter, he had whenever his tweets would go super viral, he had a thing that said check out my Bandcamp with a link to his Bandcamp, and it was just one song which was him going check out my Twitter, and then he spelled out his fucking handle. And the thing is that is so fucking funny that I'm repeating it on a live stream because it's that delightful. Like it is. It's so annoying.
Torunn, I think you need to hire James as your PR. Look,
Yeah.
Rodimus just sub to your Substack.
Thank you, James.
Look, James Abel, right there.
James Abel, my new villain, or possibly not. Maybe hero, maybe something. I'm not sure.
Look at that, James. That's the biggest compliment you've got this
Abel. It's
year.
Depends on the character. I might kill you off, James. Who knows?
Oh, no.
I've killed James off, and that's because
I put someone's dog into the Punisher comics, and then I killed it.
Oh.
And they were so excited that I used the dog.
They're like, oh no, actually.
And I didn't tell them either. They got the comic.
Look,
It didn't
James
hurt
doesn't care if you kill him. He's okay with you killing him.
Okay, good.
He's about that.
Oh, and now he's on Blue Sky.
Look
I
at
don't
that.
know what
He's
Blue
about
Sky
that
is.
life.
Okay. Oh, and Adrian subbed as well. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
Delight as always. Love you guys.
No. We love you. Hey, stay on for a second after we say our goodbyes.
Oh no, she's totally gonna run away.
No, don't run away. Not yet. I just now sobered up. You've been carrying this interview, and I'm like, oh my god, how long has this been? Oh, 2 hours. I'm so glad you were here. Otherwise, I would have been like, tell me about Cletus Kasady. Thank you for doing this after the weekend.
Did we talk about Carnage?
That's.
Thank you, everyone. Stay minty.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Yes, you did.